Yeah. Okay, we can start. So let me start with a very brief introduction because I want the majority of the time we tackle your personal brand so that you can get out of here with a bit of a checklist and how you're going to move forward with your personal brand. So my name is Joy Omulama and I am a branding expert. So what I do is help people to build targeted brands. So a targeted brand basically makes you a very strategic. If you're applying for a job, when they check your brand and they check you, so you place yourself strategically and you place yourself in a position where you can be seen. So I handle both personal brands and company brands. But for your case, I'll be going the route of a personal brand because you want to build a brand that is you. So that is Doris. So that is what I do as Joy. So my expertise is digital marketing and branding, and my focus when it comes to branding is getting a personal brand that is authentic and actually represents you as a whole. So as a person, because a personal brand is you, a brand that will represent you as a whole, as a person. So when someone goes to your LinkedIn page, they can get out of that page feeling like they know Doris, they know what Doris is up to, they know how Doris thinks. So that is the focus of me helping individuals build their personal brands. Yeah. So you can go ahead and give me your short introduction.
Right. My name is Doris. I work at the moment at a training institution that's based in Arusha, and I am the head of the learning training there. So I am a trainer, facilitator, but of course also responsible for the overall overseeing the unit. Yeah, and of course I'm part of the management.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, thank you, Doris. I see that you're really doing a great job. I like hearing people are doing trainings and educating because we need more of those people aside from our teachers in schools. So that is very lovely that you're an educator. So if we jump into your the audit that you did, so to start off, this is a personal brand that we're trying to build together. And the second thing, your brand does not have a logo or a website or a color palette or a mood board. So basically, you've not done any foundational brand building. Uh, that is what that section is attesting to. Then, how clearly defined is your brand purpose and values? So somewhat clear. I can actually understand why would you would choose the somewhat clear, because if you haven't done the foundational brand building, that is deciding as Doris, which direction do I want my brand to go. So if for instance you're an educator, so I'm not sure which category of education do you take, like environmental, career, which part of what do you train on?
Professional professionals.
Okay,
So
so
it's short skills professional courses. Yeah.
yeah, so if that is the brand that you want to build for yourself. But when you think of a personal brand, you should think about it in a sort of a larger scope. So let's say in 5 years, where does Doris want to be? That is how you determine your brand purpose and values. Which direction do you want to take as a brand, as a personal brand? So in 5 years, will you still be training on soft skills for to professionals? Would you have expanded and maybe be training on something else, or will you have diversified your portfolio when it comes to as a personal brand? Would you have taken, which courses do you think you can take to actually infuse more onto your personal brand? So you have to think of it in a broader, not just where you are, but where you want to go. And then when now that is how you determine your brand's purpose. because this is a personal brand. So that is how you determine your brand's purpose. And when you're determining your brand purpose, you also have to think of, in the space of me training, what do I want these professionals to gain from me as Doris? And what am I going to be teaching them about? Because we have very many soft skills. So what am I going to be teaching them about? What am I going to be educating? And when I create my posts, and when I'm out there, maybe if I go to an event, let's say a physical event, you can think of it as a physical event. If you're invited to a physical event, what would you like to share to that audience, right? Then your values is, how do you want to share this knowledge that you have? So you have values. The first value that I would encourage you to have as a personal brand is authenticity. So you want to represent yourself as Doris as much as possible. Even in the way that you write your captions, you want people to see you in your captions. You want people to actually see you. But that is just one of the values that a personal brand can have. So you have to determine at least 4 values that you want to be expressing as a personal brand. So if people go to maybe your website, as a personal brand, you can just start with your LinkedIn page and really build on it and really optimize your LinkedIn page. Then after you optimize your LinkedIn page, you now move to creating a website. If a website is if you are going to be offering services outside your 9 to 5, that is where I would encourage you to have a website. So that is for the values. So these are the
I have a question there in terms of a website.
Yeah.
See, I was always under the impression if one has a website, then maybe it's linked to either a company that they have or maybe consultancies, etc. I didn't think that one could just have a website as as an individual.
You can have a website as an individual, but that would more be, because we have different types of websites. So for an individual, if you're not like having a consultancy, or you don't have a specific company that you're starting, you're just building a website for yourself, that would be a portfolio website where you just showcase your work. Yeah, so for the portfolio website is basically where you showcase your work as an individual. For no, you can have a portfolio website that does not sell any service or product. So you can be sharing that to employers or potential employers. If you're in a job interview, you can attach your LinkedIn page, and you can also attach your portfolio link. So you can have that type of website. Yeah.
Is that still impactful today with all these social media platforms?
It is not that necessary, especially if you're not in a field where you can actually use a portfolio website to really showcase the work that you're doing. And if you have a really optimized LinkedIn page and you're in a field that you do not require a portfolio website, then there's no need investing in a website when you're just beginning. So there's no need for that. But let's say if you are a graphic designer, or you're a tech person, so you're building softwares and other websites, for that kind of field, I would encourage that person to have a portfolio website. But for you're training, so most of your achievements can be shared very well on LinkedIn. You can write articles, you can post if you're training a group, you can say what you trained on that day. You can do all that on your LinkedIn page. So you don't need a website just off the bat. So at the moment, you can just work on your LinkedIn page. Yeah. So the values, like I was saying, that is like you have to have your core purpose as a brand, like a personal brand. What is the vision? How do you envision your personal brand? What is the mission of you having a personal brand? Like, some people want a personal brand so that they can grow it into a business. Some people want a personal brand so that they can, because they're like top, they're CEOs or they're the C-suite at their companies. So they want a personal brand that is strategically placed alongside their company brand for better partnerships. So you have to determine why you're going to be creating your personal brand. Okay, so we are moving to the next question, and that is, how well do you know your target audience? So your target audience, you've said your target audience are professionals. So when we come to professionals, you have to really be specific on who you're going to be speaking to. Because when you think about professionals, when you think about, let's say, medical professionals or people in blue collar and white collar, there are some soft skills that cut across all professionals, and then there are some soft skills that are targeted to specific industries. So for you, you can think of the professionals that you train or you're going to be training. Which industry are they based in? Are they medical professionals? Are they people in the service industry? Are they social workers? So which professionals are you targeting? And then you will have, that is your target audience. Now when you post and when you create your content, you'll be speaking to this particular group. So you'll not be speaking to every professional, you'll be speaking to a targeted group. And when you have your target audience, it is good to always mention them in your captions, in your post. So you a targeted audience group. So you have to figure out. You can use the HubSpot persona builder to build your target audience. So you'll say their name. You'll give them a name. You'll also give them. You'll think about what is their career, what are their hobbies, what are their interests. Just building a persona that your personal brand can be speaking to. So that's how you can figure out your target audience.
You said use what? HubSpot.
Yeah, HubSpot. They have a persona builder. It's free.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so how consistently do you present your brand across all digital channels? So consistency comes in the how much do you post? That is consistency, because you have to be consistent if you're going to be seriously building a brand. You have to be consistent. So for consistency, it doesn't mean every single day. It can be just, maybe for you it is okay to post 3 times a week. But if you choose to post 3 times a week, then you have to continuously post 3 times a week every single week. Consistency also comes in how you respond to comments and how you engage on social media. So you should be out there also engaging with other people's posts. So not just your post, just posting. You have to post your own content and also engage with other people's content. So a good rule of thumb is look for your target audience pages and people in your industry that either have a complementary service or the same service as you, but they have a higher engagement and their brands are higher than yours, then comment on their pages. So that is just a good rule of thumb. The other part for consistency is now when you've determined your brand, you have to pick your brand colors. So your brand colors will come after you've determined the values that you want your brand to express. So if you want your brand to be lively, you'll go for a lively color. So when you're creating your graphics, you go for that brand color. So pick at least 3 colors that complement each other as your brand colors. Then be consistent when you're posting, when you're creating graphics, be consistent by using only the 3 colors. So you have to be consistent. Meaning, if you pick, let's say, blue, gray, and maybe light green, meaning every single caption, every single graphic that appears on your page should have at least two. So for the three colors, you have your primary color, that is the major color that cannot miss in your brand. You have a secondary color that goes alongside your primary color. So you use this when you're writing subtitles, when you want to highlight something. Then you have a tertiary color. This comes when you need a third color, which is not very common when you're creating, more so when you're creating graphics. It's not very common to have three colors in one graphic, but you have to be consistent. So you have to pick the color. All colors have codes, so the code that your color has to be consistent throughout, unless you reach a point and you want to rebrand. So if you're not rebranding, you have to be consistent. Yeah. Okay, so there we are still on consistency. The other section where you want to maintain consistency is how you express yourself. So we talked about authenticity. So we express ourselves differently, and you have to figure out how you're going to be expressing yourself. Are you the poetic kind? There's some people who are very poetic and they like to do word plays. Are you that kind? Or are you the kind to just go direct with your messaging, like you just love speaking directly to your audience? So pick a style of how you're going to express yourself, a tone that you're going to be speaking to your audience, and the style of messaging that you're going to be presenting your message, and then stay consistent with that. So your tone is consistent and your messaging, your style of messaging is also consistent. Okay, so the next step is what makes your brand unique compared to your competitors. Okay, so for this part is because it's a personal brand, you obviously have competitors. Those are similar educators who are training the same professionals as you. How do you want to stand out from them? Is it by So when it comes to uniqueness, this has to be very personal because this is specifically a personal brand. So you have to be very, very strategic and very intentional about the unique thing that you want to present to your audience. And before you even pick a unique thing, you have to do a bit of research and get to know who are your competitors and what are they already doing. Then who are your audience and what are they receiving at the moment when it comes to the problem that you're solving with you being an educator to these professionals? Because most people online are not coming to just read for the sake of reading, they're coming to solve a particular problem. So as an educator, educating professionals on different soft skills, what is the problem that you're trying to solve with this service? And how uniquely can you solve this problem for them? So that is how you want to think about it when even you're crafting your message. How uniquely can you present your solution to them? So you'll have to do a bit of research and then determine that unique aspect of your brand. Yeah. Any question before I move on?
No, none at the moment.
Okay.
I like the one you mentioned about consistency.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized even LinkedIn helps with that. Like it gives you some tips of maybe posting, like for example, 2 or 3 times a week, and then how many posts have you gone to like or engage with?
Yeah.
And then I've also been part of like some discussion forums. So I've been going to look based on my industry where people are putting questions, and I'm going to respond there. So yeah, the consistency area is also where I'm lagging behind. Some days I might post twice a week, some days I might not post at all. But yeah, work in progress.
Yeah. So to help with consistency, you can look for the pain points. So you have to know the pain point of your target audience. So the HubSpot persona builder will help you with that. You'll have to research and find the pain points of your target audience when it comes to the service that you're offering. Then you now find topics to discuss about these pain points and how you're going to solve them. And you can actually break one problem or one solution into 2 posts or several posts. So you don't have to post every single thing in one post. So you can break if whatever you're going to share is a lot of things, you can break it into several posts. Yeah. Okay, so moving on.
How will one know that their brand is growing? How will you know that you're doing well?
Yes, so since you're growing the brand on, let's say, LinkedIn, right? You will know your brand is growing when you start getting engagement on your posts. Your impressions increase, meaning more people are seeing your post. So LinkedIn is pushing out your content. When more people are, when you're getting followers, obviously. So if you're really solving the problems of your target audience, you'll start getting followers. So you'll start getting people sending you connection requests. And you'll also start noticing that your content is being shared. So those are the KPIs that you have to set for yourself. So for your brand, it's still a growing brand. So you're starting out. So you want to have your KPIs as impression count, likes, comments, number of followers. So if these things increase, then your brand is growing. If none of this thing is increasing, then you're not growing as a brand. And if only one is increasing, then you need to reiterate and change your strategy so that everything can increase. Yeah, so that's how you know your brand is growing. So you have to use your analytics page on, let's say, in LinkedIn. If you're using LinkedIn, you use the analytics page, and yeah, it can show you. It will even get you to see who is viewing a page, which industry are they in. Are they C-suite? Are they managers? Are they young professionals? So you'll get to know all this the more you post. Yeah.
And then I noticed when I subscribed to the free premium, it was very helpful with this information.
Yeah.
Of course, I've not gone back to it, and then based on what to build up on what you just said, I realized, for example, sometimes I would have a post that has more likes, less comments, or less impressions. So I've been trying to find that balance, yeah. Because sometimes you get likes, there's not much impressions, or you get impressions but there's no comments. So I've been looking like what you're saying. How can I foster engagement, but of course at the same time people are engaging with the post.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is the good thing about analytics. It helps you to reiterate. So uh, you cannot have one solution for all this. So you have to keep adjusting your messaging, adjusting your CTAs, adjusting your maybe the time that you post, because sometimes you post and people are not online, so you don't get those impressions. So you have to really work around your analytics and just see how that data can help you to really be targeted when it comes to your posting and your KPIs.
That's a good point. Do you also think that the best time to post on LinkedIn is Tuesdays to Thursdays, either in the morning or in the afternoon?
I find posting in the morning to work best for me. And that might just be because of the audience that I am targeting. Yeah, and this took me a while because there are those guidelines that are online, when to post and where to post and all that. But the more you post on your page, the more targeted your data will be. So your analytics will be more targeted, and you can actually learn more from your analytics, unlike the generic. But for starters, you can use that guideline of when it's best to post on LinkedIn. So Tuesdays, Thursdays, because posting on LinkedIn on weekends doesn't work very well for most people, because a lot of people don't visit LinkedIn on the weekends. Yeah. Okay, so so the other part from the other things that you need to be keeping an eye on when it comes to your personal brand is rating your online presence. So how you rate your online presence is how present you are. That comes back to, are you commenting on other people's posts? Are you liking other people's posts? Are you engaging? Because if you're only posting, then you're not that present you're not that present online. So you have to be also engaging, and all social media platforms actually reward for engagement outside what you post. So I would encourage you to really engage with other people's posts. And the other thing you also want to keep an eye on is how others perceive your brand. So if you want to know if your brand is working well, you can get direct reviews from people. So you can have poll questions asking people about which topics do they want to speak about. Then put a topic that you've spoken about and see how they react. So you have a topic that you've spoken about and topics that you have not spoken about, and you see which ones they choose. So if they choose the topic that you've spoken about, meaning they perceive your brand positively. So if they are liking what you're posting at the moment, then they view your brand positively. So there are so many other strategies that you can use to find how people perceive your brand. You can also ask people directly to just give you an overview of your page, like what's the feeling. You can ask your colleagues, your friends to just give you um, an overview of your page. When they land on your page, how do they think you're doing? Yeah. And you also want to keep an eye out for engagement. So engagement are the likes, the comments, the reposts. So you want to keep an eye out for that. And the other part is you have to effectively share your brand story. So your brand story as a personal brand, your brand story is the story that Doris wants to tell people. So when it comes to brand story, like the milestones that you achieve in your career, the setbacks that you have as a professional. Maybe you went to train a group and they did not respond well. You tried all the tricks in your bag, but you found that they were not very engaging, and you went later back and maybe found the reason they were not engaging is maybe the content you are sharing is not what they expected to hear on that particular day. So that is a setback in your career. That is a story that you want to share with your audience. So you want to be vulnerable with your audience. You also want to share your story the way that you want to share it. So if you attend an event, you can post it and put your opinion, like say your opinion. How did you feel about the event? What did you learn? So these are the things that you want to share with your audience. So share your story, put your achievements and your setbacks out there so that people can know that this person is actually on a journey and they're not just a perfect person that I'm seeing across the screen. So you have to share your story and really put both your achievements. So you have to find a balance of how you share your achievements and your setbacks. Yeah.
A question there.
Yes.
Do you think setbacks can be shared as you're going through them, or it's better you share them? Okay, wait, let me reframe my question. So, for example, if I'm going through setbacks in my current role, can I still share them now, or it's best if I share them after I've left in another role, then I can mention those setbacks?
Okay, so
Because, for example, let's say some of the posts I've been doing, let's say if we've been implementing a project, I'll post about the lessons learned after, right?
yes.
But then setbacks, I feel like are so important because then you're going through them like daily. Things like, let's say, managing a team, for example. And I'm wondering how would it be best to share that as you're going through it without looking like you're exposing yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So when you're sharing your setbacks, you want to share your setback in a format whereby they do not sound like they really, you're not sharing your setbacks as a bad thing, you want to structure it so that people can see that in this setback propelled me to move towards this direction, which was a better direction. So you want to share your setbacks in that format. So you do not just go online and say, this is the setback that I had, and leave it at that. You have to tell people that I overcame my setback, and this is where I came out stronger and better as a person. And also, if you're sharing your setbacks that are happening in your current job, you want to share them in a way that does not negatively affect your current company. So you do not blast your current company when you're sharing your setbacks. So you don't want to put a negative light on your current company when you're sharing setbacks that are happening in your current role. Yeah. Is that clear? I think you've muted yourself. Can you unmute yourself?
Oh yes, I said that's helpful. Thank you. And then I
Okay.
said the issue you mentioned about a poll, I tried it, and I think I was doing research on. I realized from my trainings, because in my trainings, one of the topics we cover is transformational leadership, and in that there's a personal branding session.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I usually do. And then I realized as I'm doing that, I thought, let me challenge myself as for me to work on my brand and my experiences where I'm then able to bring it into a training. Yeah. And most of the feedback I've been getting from participants is that fear of how will I be perceived? I don't know what to post, etc. Yeah. So I use that in a poll on LinkedIn, like what stops you, for example, from posting on LinkedIn.
Okay.
And I got that feedback, which most of the time is people just don't know what to post or don't know what to say. Then again, I responded to that. This was the feedback from the poll that you're saying you don't know what to post, and then gave them tips on how they could go about it and encourage them to post. But since then, I've not continued with that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually a
Because there's
very
so much
good
happening.
strategy.
Pardon?
That was a very good strategy, especially for putting yourself out there as an expert.
Really?
Yeah, because you were solving a very direct problem that they had.
Ah,
Yeah.
let me celebrate myself for that. So you see now, I've not continued with that. Rather, whatever is happening in my week, then if there's a training, I'll post about that. If I've gone to a conference, so I'm finding it difficult to balance
Mm-hmm.
even the many things that are happening, which of course ties into what you said. Who am I speaking to? Target what is their pain point based on what you shared. Sometimes I find like I want to be sharing, like I find everything relevant.
Yeah, it is a problem for most people wanting to share everything. But if you want to grow, and especially if you're building a personal brand, so you want to be an expert in that field, so you try to really solve a particular problem and not become a jack of all trades. Yeah, so for the good thing about a personal brand, you don't have to niche it down so much so that you're just speaking to one specific group. You can diversify and find a balance of how you share your knowledge across the various topics that you want to share about. Yeah. Okay, I think I've gone through all the questions that we had for the personal brand, and these these questions are good for building your foundation for a personal brand. So if you manage to have all that we had in the audit, you'll have built a very strong foundation. Then now you move to now building, to optimizing your brand. So optimizing your LinkedIn, optimizing your messaging. So you have to start and just figure out. And the good thing that I said about a personal brand is you can iterate. As you're starting out, you can test out different messaging styles, different tones. Maybe try being poetic in one caption and see are people gravitating towards that. So you can test out before you settle. So there's no rush in settling. So you can try out a few styles, maybe a few. Are people gravitating more towards posts that I share with my photos, or are they gravitating more towards posts that I share with graphics? Do they want infographics? Are they responding well to my polls? So try out various styles, various tones, various messaging styles before you settle. Now, after you try it out for, let's say, a month, you can go back and see which one performed best, and then pick that as your style, or the style that you'll pick for your brand. So you can start by just trying out a few different things. Okay, so I don't know if you have any other question, or there is you have a. It doesn't have
I think
to.
one final question.
Okay, go ahead.
A question I have for LinkedIn, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so at the moment I'm working on changing my cover page and getting another photo.
Mm-hmm.
And then the area that says about summary to highlight your personality or work experience. This is something that I want to work on now to update. And then of course, I do post regularly. I try to.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the moment, this weekend, I wrote to about 10 people, asking them all to give me a recommendation.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just thought if you manage to go through my profile, maybe what I've said, do you think I'm aligned with the, like, I'm on the pathway to building that brand, or is there other area that I need to consider?
Okay, let me just open up your page. Okay, so you're talking about the. I'm checking it on my phone, so I won't be able to share your screen, to share the screen. Okay, so is that the experience, or which section? Which section did you want me to go through?
No, I was telling you that you see the cover page, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
I'm changing that now. I've asked Holmes to help me with the cover page there.
Okay.
Because there it was when I was going to speak at a conference. I'm changing my profile picture
Mm-hmm.
where it says write a summary to highlight your personality or work experience. I'll add that because it's not there at the moment.
Yeah.
And then of course I regularly post.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing at the moment is I've asked about 10 people to give me recommendations so I can include it down there on LinkedIn. Other things I've been doing is like getting those licenses and certifications, updating when I do training. Yeah. So just if you've skimmed through it, just overall, maybe what's an area you think, you're missing this area too.
Okay.
But yeah.
Uh-huh. you need, there's a lot of optimization that can happen on your LinkedIn page. Uh-huh.
A lot of optimization.
Yeah, like you really need to optimize your LinkedIn page.
By optimize, what do you mean? Is it the thing where you mentioned about like my messaging, my posts, and all that engagement and whatnot?
So that's just part of optimization, but for you have to optimize your profile as it is. You have to optimize, like where your name is. So you have your name, and then you have the section where you have a little information about you. So head of learning and training at that, business development facilitator, moderator, women empowerment. So that part needs to be optimized, because at the moment you really have several sort of target audiences, target groups that you that can apply there. So it's kind of confusing. So you need to find who you're speaking to, what problem you're solving. Yeah, so be targeted when you write that section. Of course, the other section that you really need, that I think you should have later as you're going to optimize, is your about page. So you don't have an about page, so that has to be there. So you have to have an about page. Your featured section, that is also another place that you can optimize your featured page. So instead of just putting a post, you can put various, like an event that you are hosting, if that is something that you're doing, or instead of just putting a post, the featured page, putting a post does not really work very well, or work very well when it comes to your branding and the kind of engagement you want on your post. So instead of putting a post, you would rather put your blogs instead of just a single post. Yeah. So the featured page, the featured section, you can also optimize it and find something that will bring engagement, will bring conversion to your brand, so that you use that on your featured page. Your experience. So for the experience, you want to also include things like what you did, what did you achieve, so your metrics for each role.
You know, I used to have that, but I saw people are removing it. I saw people are just leaving their titles. That's why I deleted all mine. I used to have it in all posts. I mean, on all roles. Then every time I'm going to people's pages, I'm just seeing they're just putting their title, and I was like, okay, maybe this is too much information.
Not
It was
really.
like having your CV there.
Well, that will also depend on. That's why you have to know which direction do you want your brand to go to. Like, what's the direction of your brand? When you figure that out, that is where now you can optimize very well your profile, after knowing the direction that you want your brand to take. Yes, so yeah, the education, that is fine. I see that you've put your primary education, so that is fine. Your licenses, that is also okay. Your skills. Okay, so yeah, your skills, yeah. So the skills, you just want to arrange them in line with what you're doing as a personal brand. So you start with the top most relevant skills and go down the list like that. So that's.
Oh, I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, you can. So for the skill section, you can do that. Yeah, then that's the overview of how you can optimize your page. There is so much when it comes to optimizing your page, but you need to optimize your page, because if you don't optimize your page, you might not meet your KPIs if your page is not optimized.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. This is helpful.
Okay. Any other question? Any other question that you may have?
No, not at the moment. Thank you. This was very helpful.
Okay, so thank you so much, Doris, for attending this session, and I hope that it has been helpful. I hope that it has been helpful, and you can reach out to if you need help with anything concerning your brand, and I'll send you a checklist that will help you with building the foundation of your brand. So I'll send you a checklist that can help you just go down a list of things that you need to do for your brand, and then from there we can see how your brand has grown. Yeah.
Okay. No, thank you so much. And I'll definitely reach out if I need further support, because I saw you put hourly rates, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely reach out. I think I've got a good start to start working on some of these feedback you've given.
Okay. Okay. I'm glad that the session was helpful, and I also hope the checklist will help you out. So you can just continue building, and like you said, in case of any further support that you may need, just reach out and we can book another session.
Okay. All
Okay.
right.
Okay. Thank you, Doris.
Thank you so much, Joy. Have a good day.
Have a good afternoon too.
All right. Bye.
Bye.